I'm J.G. Michael, and this is Parallax Views. So let's start with the Vegas Bitcoin convention. What was this convention all about?
So there is basically, there are, of course, tons of crypto conferences or even Bitcoin specific ones, but there's sort of a main one put on by Bitcoin Magazine, and there's I think a foundation and company associated with it of a similar name, but it's kind of the house publication almost of Bitcoin. But I went in 2022 when it was in Miami, and been in Miami for a while. Last year in 2024, it was in Nashville, and it was a big deal, relatively speaking, because that was where Trump spoke there, and it was kind of the seemingly at the time, at least, the capstone kind of his Bitcoin conversion, of his orange pilling, and of the huge monetary support of the crypto industry that had assembled behind him. It was before he became, kind of a full-time crypto entrepreneur. Anyway, this year it was in Vegas. The top speaker or top billing might have been Vice President J.D. Vance, but also a lot of big industry people, some people who frankly wouldn't have been who would not have come to the U.S. before, let's say, for legal reasons. And also some Ross Ulbricht, kind of symbolically, the founder of the Silk Road, who was pardoned by Trump. So it was in Vegas this year with like all that entails, and it was just last week, the last week of May.
So what was your experience like there?
Crypto has always leaned right in one way or another, and there's certainly the kind of more libertarian right cypherpunk spectrum there, but a lot of that feels gone or superseded by really just MAGA and pro-Trump right feeling very prominent. First of all, there are so many Republican politicians. The first full day was more of an industry day, but it was called Code and Country, and there were maybe a dozen elected officials, senators, members of Congress, some people from the White House, David Sachs, Cynthia Loomis, Marsha Blackburn, all these people, and then their allies in the crypto industry, like the Winklevi, and various people from Coinbase and other places. Brian Armstrong wasn't there, but I think another Coinbase executive was there. Anyway, it just felt like this real union of kind of some of big tech, but also like finance and the corporate side of crypto and MAGA. And there was a lot of expression of thanks towards Trump for kind of delivering them all from lawfare. Actually, one of the narratives that you heard a lot was that, Donald Trump was this victim of lawfare by the Democrats. And
so were we, the crypto keepers.
Exactly. and they expanded a little bit, like the Trumps, Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump and some of these others expanded to talk about like, oh, we were debanked. The Winklevoss twins said that too. Or, our free speech was oppressed, so that's why we have to be on Rumble, while talking to the Rumble founder. But broadly, it's like, Donald Trump is the force at the top, and in some ways the victim at the top, and they all kind of suffered under the same regime, and now they've been delivered from that. And Bitcoin is both a practical thing because some of them were losing their bank accounts, but also just this proxy for freedom.
By the way, are there any libertarians that are starting to turn on Bitcoin? I know that Peter Schiff was like really critical of Bitcoin and like lost his mind over his son Spencer getting into Bitcoin, and I think his son now is anti-Bitcoin too. Is there a changing of the tide?
Peter Schiff had a weird thing where I don't know exactly what his business interest might be in relation to it, but he was at the conference and he was on a panel. He has sort of made himself into this professional antagonist of Bitcoin, where I think it's kind of he has this sort of sideline where he now is like, okay, I'm gonna go around debating the Bitcoin guys. And I don't know if he gets paid to show up, but like he was on a panel. He does. It was like two gold bugs on different sides of Bitcoin debating each other. Then I saw him at a party, like surrounded by all these women. Like he seems to have given in that way, and some of the Bitcoiners like joke around like, oh, you've been orange pilled and stuff. I do think there are some libertarians. Like I saw there was, I didn't end up talking to this guy, but there's an account. There are certainly other people you can find out there. I'm sure there are occasional people at the conference. There's a guy whose account I thought was pretty interesting on X called Pledditor, Pledditor, and he's kind of an old school Bitcoin guy who's just like, you guys are all just authoritarians now, kneeling at the foot of the state, and like all these people suck and are scammers, and is basically just a Bitcoin purist. And I still hear from some people like that, like, you know, a lot of the like kind of mainstream Bitcoiners will block me or don't really care what I have to say, but like some of the people who on the kind of crypto side who still follow me happen to be like the kind of more OG or maybe intellectually grounded. It still might be in Bitcoiners. It might be in a philosophy I don't agree with, but that I still hear from some of those, and yeah, they don't like where it's going, but they have no authority really.